Welcome back to Robinson Homebuyers. Thanks for coming and checking us out. If you're interested in property investing, feel free to like and subscribe. And if there's anything that you guys have comments or questions about as we go along throughout the video, please leave us a comment and we'll be sure to get back to you.
Yeah, because I mean, the big thing is we want to be as helpful as possible. Again, we've said this from the beginning. We're just ordinary folks trying to hopefully inspire others to jump in. A lot of people have had a dream about flipping a house or buying a rental property, what all goes along with that. And we're still getting into this. We're fairly new ourselves. And so we want to be most helpful. Even in the next few weeks, we're going to be thinking about what's our next set of videos going to be. And so if you have an idea or something that would be helpful to you,
something you want to know, let us know. We'll see what we can do. We can come up with some content for you, answer your questions. But today we want to just break down, like we told you last week, we want to let you know just how do we even analyze, how did we go about analyzing our very first flip, which was our first investment property. So we're going to break down those numbers step by step for you.
Yeah. First, where was it, Leslie? Like, tell them,
Oh, the home?
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to give the exact address for the sake of the privacy of those who have bought the home.
So it was in Salt Lake County, so Taylorsville, Utah, which is about 50 minutes from us, north of us.
Yeah. So, just up the road a little bit.
A very busy street.
Very busy street, yeah. And this was one that our realtor, Travis Stokes, had brought to us. The property had been trashed out by a tenant, and the owner of the house wanted to get rid of it quick, knew it was going to be sold to an investor. And so he brought it before us to give us an opportunity on it and thought it would make a really good first investment property for us. But it also had the potential of being a rental if needed, if things were, went upside down. Because that's part of this thing too. You're always trying to think of multiple ways to move the property or make it stable if the economy turns or something. So.
I don't remember. Did we bid on this house, or I don't remember how we got this.
Well, we did have to. It wasn't an auction process, but I mean, there was an investor showing set up. So, even in the last one, we talked about how some people tried to intimidate us a little bit in that. So we had to run the numbers, analyze them, and make what we thought was the best bid that made sense for us. And so.
And what was the starting bid on it? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really even a starting bid, but we kind of had an idea based on the market and the condition of the house that we were thinking around, for us, 220,000 was going to be what we needed to bid for it to make sense. But knowing that on the back end, I think when we first started, we were shooting for a 300 to 305,000 after renovated value. And by the way, I may say the letters ARV. After renovated value. Some people may say after repair value. So what you can sell it
for after it's been, repaired.
Right. So, buying it at 220, putting some work into it, hopefully selling it for no less than 300. But we had a lot of reason to think that the market was, and it was indeed heating up, and it did sell for quite a bit above that price. But we always try to set it on the most conservative numbers possible. So 220 was about the starting point. And just to let you know, we wound up getting the property for $218,500. And we were the high bidder, which means others had bid above that. Sometimes that can be a
You mean had bid below?
I mean, they would have, they offered below that. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, we, sometimes it's almost a gut check, like, oh, did we overpay for this thing?
We're the newbies here.
Yeah, but we also knew a lot of these professional investors, I mean, they run crews. Their overhead is a whole lot more than ours. We were going to be doing some of the work ourselves. So all these things were factored in. But just to kind of share with you a breakdown. I mean, so again.
So 218.5. So then our down payment was 15%.
Yeah, we had to come up with 15% down for our hard money lender to lend us the money. And we felt like that was a good, more than fair down payment, considering most places want 20%, sometimes even 25%. And we were brand new. This is our first deal. So there's a little more risk for the lender at that point. And so on $218,500, our down payment was $32,775. Again,
nearly all of our HELOC.
Yeah, so our home equity line of credit, I think, was for 38 or 40,000, somewhere in that ballpark at the time, and so that's what we were working with. So we had to come up with that. So most of our down payment came from that home equity line of credit, which made the amount of money that we were borrowing $185,725. So $185,725 was our loan amount
from the hard money.
From the hard money. So that's what they loaned us. And then on the front end, so again, this is just how do you analyze the deal? You need to know how much your money's going to cost you to borrow it. So 15% down, I just gave you the number. But one thing that's important, if you're dealing with hard money, you always got to pay some type of points. And this is even normal in the mortgage industry altogether. Just most of the time it's less than 1%. But we found a hard money lender that would loan this money for 1.5%. And by the way, I have called numerous hard money lenders. This is about the lowest you can get, and especially to be newbies like us. So we thought it was a good deal. But that came out at 1.5 points on 185 was $2,786. And by the way, we're going to have all this listed out for you in the video so you can see the breakdown. So you know that you're going to be paying right out of the gate $2,786. And then next, we were planning on a 3-month hold on this property. We were convinced, and by the way, we did get the work done in 30 days on the property. We were desperate, we were hungry, and it's like, we know that the way for us to make money is to not be holding this property for a long time, and so we need to get it done quick. So we planned on 30 days for the renovation, but we had planned on 90 days, so 3 months to hold the property, just in case it took a while to market or it took a little bit longer. Just to give you a heads up, now we try to plan on about 4 months on properties, especially if they're properties that we're working on ourselves. That's stories for another day. But so 3 months worth of payments to the hard money lender came out to $5,572. That was 3 months of that at a 12% interest only rate.
So basically, you've got the 12% that you then pay 1% of that every month.
Yeah, so the way you figure it out, just in case, just even on this property, for example, if we're borrowing $185,725 to be exact, you would divide that, actually you would multiply 185,000, we'll just round it out, by 12%, just put that on your calculator, and then you get that number and divide it by 12, and that'll tell you your monthly payment. And then when you have that, you multiply it times 3. So for us, it was $1,857. And that roughly is like that 1% number that Leslie just mentioned. So you take that, multiply it by 3, and that gives you your 3-month
or however many
payment.
months you expect to hold your property. Right. If you think it might take you more like 4 to 6 months, then you're going to have to average out that interest payment on that many months.
Exactly. So it's very easy to do. Once you know what your interest only payment is, you just, again, multiply it by your loan amount and then divide it by 12 and then multiply it by the number of months you plan to hold it. So for us, 3 months. So the rest of this, I'm just going to give you the assumption that we're working with 3 months. So I'm going to give you totals from here on out. So we had that 3 months payment of $5,572 plus our home equity line of credit charged us an interest rate. And I think it was like 3.99 or 5.99. I mean, it was somewhere around that, which is pretty good. Anyways, right now I'm thankful. By the way, if you're in Utah, Mountain America Credit Union has a 1.99% introductory rate. By the way, because when we redid this and got more equity out, to use. It has stayed for over a year at 1.99%. So shout out to Mountain America Credit Union.
So that for 3 months was like $675.
It was $675 at the time. So you've got that. And then the home inspection, and I would say if you've got a chance to buy the income property with a home inspection, we've done it with, we've done it without. It just depends on how much interest there is in the property, how...
Yeah, but we've had one bite us from not getting a right home inspection.
We didn't lose money, but we did not maximize our profit. Yeah,
if you can, if time permits, do it.
Make sure you do that. But
it's only $250.
On this one was $250, and then we did pay a little more for a sewer inspection on this one as well, but just roughly $250. And then you've got to remember, you've got to pay insurance on the home. You never want to buy an income property without being properly insured.
Especially this one, and we'll tell you next week why.
Yeah. So we had some interesting times on this one, and actually did have to file a claim shortly before closing, and that was a little bit stressful. But had we not had the homeowner's insurance, it could have really hit us nice.
It's not bad.
So
$50, $60.
Yeah, it cost us $164 for 3 months of homeowners insurance. So you always need to have it. And if you're in Utah and you are investing in properties, you need a good agent who has good rates. Please just feel free to comment, reach out to us. We'll be glad to share any contacts that we have, even on a hard money lender. If you're interested, give us a call. If you're in Middle Tennessee, we even have good people to recommend there. Feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to help you out as you try to get in. Also on the utilities, you need to plan. These are the things that the home and garden TV show, HGTV, they don't tell you all these things. You usually just see what they bought it for. They put this much in, they sold it for this. That's why you can't just watch those shows and think, man, I've got it figured out. This is my profit margin.
Those little costs that add up.
They add up. So the utilities on this one, and at the time of the year it was about $300 for 3 months. So it wasn't too bad. But then you also have property taxes. You can find these, and if you're working with an agent, they're going to be able to pull these up for you. But you just need to know that you're going to be paying a prorated property tax payment. For us, it was $475 for 3 months. And then the closing cost up front on this one wasn't too expensive. It was $525. By the way, I'll say this, you need to always shop your title companies. Fortunately, our realtor has a good title company he's always worked with that he knows works with investors. Because a lot of times a title company will charge you a better rate if you're an investor, because they hope and know that you're going to be doing multiple business and closings with them. And so those relationships are important. So that one was $525 for that one. And it basically was just the insurance policy for the lender, the title insurance policy for the lender, and then just a small fee above that. By the way, those have gone up, I've noticed. But closing on the back end, you've got to plan on, all right, so if we sell it at 300, on this one we're making it 310,000. I mean, we told you we started out hoping 300 to 305, but then we started thinking 310 when we did our numbers.
That's what our realtor was pretty sure we could list it for.
Right. And fortunately, but you just need to plan on 6%, because you're going to pay, the buyers and the sellers side of the realtor's fees when you go to sell the property. On this one, though, our fees came out to be about $14,500 and some change. And so, but again,
a little bit lower than
a little bit lower.
You probably normally find.
Yeah, and so sometimes, again, relationships, if you're doing multiple properties, sometimes these things can make a difference. But that's what this one cost, was about $14,500. And then a home warranty. When you're selling a home, if you can do it, it's always a good thing, especially for the buyer of the home.
Skip the back end.
Okay, yeah. to have a home warranty. It usually is anywhere from $400 to $500, and that covers major appliances, including HVAC and such, if they have problems on the back end for a year.
For the buyer.
That's for the buyer.
The person that's buying it from you. It's
right.
for their peace of mind, not for your peace of mind while you're holding the property.
But I do know that some investors buy a home warranty for themselves on the properties. Even sometimes rental property folks will
not
buy
that much worth good in there when we get
right, exactly.
It's not really worth that.
But yeah, and then closing on the back end of things, I didn't mention, it was about $1,500 to close it on the back end. It's just usually when you sell it, for some reason, the closing costs can sometimes be a little bit more. But I've found that $1,200 to $1,500 seems to be an industry standard when we're selling. And then you've got the big cost of renovations. So the renovations on this one came out roughly to $30,000, so about $30,152.
Our original estimate was pretty low, and keep in mind this was our very first reno, or our very first flip. So, and not only that, but we didn't know anybody in the Salt Lake area that did.
Not a lot of people. We had some recommendations, so you have to kind of work through that.
And we had one handyman that we knew, but other than that, we didn't really have our people that we know to go to, who to call for what at the time.
Right.
So we ran our numbers actually on more like 22 to 25, and it ended up being around 30,000.
And we've just found it always goes over. Yeah. So you need to just get your numbers tighter. Here's the thing: if you're doing all the work yourself, you can probably control this a little bit better. Sure. But if you are working with even one other human being, expect it just to. Something's going to come up. You need to be ready.
Yeah. And this house, we really didn't do much of the work ourselves.
Right.
I had just had carpal tunnel surgery. I couldn't do much of anything. I really can't do a whole lot anyway besides demo and paint. I can paint.
She does more than she gives credit for.
But, we hired all of that out. So our reno was paint. It was a lot of paint. Yeah. Painted the entire... everything inside. Tons of drywall work, painted the kitchen cabinets and the bathroom vanities. We actually
resurfacing tiles and bathtubs and landscaping,
all new flooring, mild landscaping, and rested some stuff when he could, but is an hour away. Still got a full-time job here. Right. Most of the work here we did hire out, but if you can be in there doing the work yourself, you're gonna save a ton more money,
right?
And you can get it done quicker.
And especially if you love hands-on kind of work. I mean, some people just live for that. The good thing with this particular house, though, there was nothing at all structural, no walls to move, no things like that. It really was just putting it back together, but there was a lot of putting back together. So.
And that's something to keep in mind too, that you may have to run on your reno cost. You may have to pull permits, which we've had to pull permits. We've not pulled permits, and then had to go back and pull permits, and then so those, if you're doing any structural changes to the home, you need to look into, do you need to pull permits or electrical permits and things like that. This one was pretty simple in that we didn't have to do a lot of that kind of stuff.
It was just pretty much put the carpet back down, paint it, a lot of it, but then change some cosmetic things like install granite. Granite is very standard out here in Utah, in the market that we're in. And so, but those renovation costs again came to, a little over $30,000. And again, I've ran this on 310,000. And so if you take 310 and subtract your costs, it came out to around 34,000. I will say, we're giving this as, we're not giving all the exact numbers right here. This house did wind up selling for quite a bit more. Had multiple offers and went for a good bit more than we had planned, which was a blessing because, again, our renovations, went over a little bit too. But all being said, we hope that this helps a little bit, because once you learn these basic numbers, you go into any property, and then the hardest thing is just figuring out what's my renovation cost going to be. And we're going to deal not necessarily with cost, but we will hopefully give some some things for this. But if you have any questions about how do I figure out renovation costs, feel free, again, shoot us a comment. Also go to our Facebook page, Robinson Home Buyers. We're on Facebook. Be glad to talk with you, try to help walk in any way we can. Again, every market's different too, so there's some nuances, but we will show a couple photos and things of what the process looked like. But it had its challenges, but by far it was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
There were moments when I did not think it was worth it.
Yeah.
But we'll tell you more about just the good, the bad, and the ugly of that first reno. We'll let you know more about that on our next video.
Yeah. So we hope you have a good week and look forward to chatting with you next. So again, if you like it, feel free to hit subscribe. So.